practice today with his guys?
No, I just had a good meal.
Oh.
That's what that was.
All right, good. So how would you rate your quarterbacks now compared to the meal?
Oh, man, we're doing a good job. We're working. That's always a great thing. Guys in there competing with each other, and they enjoy being around each other. That's the main thing that makes our group what it is. The ability to go out there and compete, but also know that you're fighting for that person beside you. That's what we try to do daily.
How different is fall camp this year, not only for you, but having a veteran group back compared to last year?
Well, that's always good. Reps is, like I said last year, I probably said reps is our best friend, and we got a lot of those during the season. And I think our guys, they understand what my expectation is. They understand what I like to see and the effort that we look for in our group. We play like what we talk about, and that's the most important thing.
You came out of spring with such a solid group established. Did you just feel like your guys picked up where they left off in spring?
Well, we go work. One thing I talk to my guys about is nothing is etched in stone. What you did last year was last year. You got to go out and improve yourself daily, weekly. And that's the mindset I want my guys to have.
Are Tevez and Jamerson setting the kind of pace you want your veterans to do in camp?
I got a lot of good leaders. One thing about it is just not those two. You got the younger guys that see those guys do it the right way, and they step up and lead also. But, Tevez, Will, Cedric, those guys do a great job of leading our group daily.
A lot of guys have talked about Will. What do you see his role?
One thing nowadays is, you got to have 4 or 5 guys that can go out there and play. It's not like I talk to my guys all the time that we got in the huddle, we held hands, and we said break. So nowadays, we probably haven't seen a huddle in 5 or 6 years. So, those guys, those days are gone. You got to have 4 deep where you can roll them in. It's hard to play 80, 90 snaps, which offenses are trying to get in every game. So for us, you got to have good depth of guys that when they go in, it's not a drop off, and we have that. We have a good situation here right now.
Jeff did mention and Tevez, they're different kinds of leaders. How they complement each other. Tevez is more vocal, Jamerson more.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Jamerson is such a natural athlete. A drill that I want done, he can do it exactly like you say. Tevez is the vocal leader of the group, where he plays with his emotions. The guys see it, and that's how they complement each other. But both of them joke around. All of them are silly, which is good, but they work, and that's the most important thing.
Jeff had mentioned Will, saying he had a really good offseason, and obviously missed the first year and a half of his career, but now having actually played in some games. Do you see that from him? What kind of improvements is he making?
Oh, man, to see what he went through and still be mentally into the game is amazing. And he's such a physical talent. He has good size, good speed, but he's still hungry. He's only played in 6, 7 games, and he's been here for 2 years, but he's still right there. One of the guys that, if he's out there, I'm not worried. And that's the thing about Will, that the questions that he asks in meetings are impressive. He wants to be a complete corner, and that's a good thing about it.
Is he working more at your corner right now, or when will you start working him in that nickel position?
Well, the rotation for us, we're so multiple that he has a good role in that nickel position. And one thing about it, if you're for us is you can be out there on the field at any time. Everybody wants to be a starter, but the amount of snaps you get is the same amount as the guy beside you, so it really doesn't matter. It's all about making plays when you're out there.
Maybe not Will specifically, but what type of questions are you looking from your players? And know that what's a good question compared to maybe like what are you looking for?
Oh, well, just ins and out of what is this guy doing beside me? What is his job so I can make my job easier and not having to go here? The questions of 2 and 3 splits of what route are you thinking? Things like that I can talk about with my guys of recognizing when you line up what the offense is about to do. And those type of questions, when you line up and you can get a good pre-snap read of what they're about to do before it happens, it makes you a better player.
I think Fred Ross in the spring said that he was by far the toughest corner to block. Will, what makes him so tough to him when he was on that list?
He's physical. He's a physical player. He has no regard for his body at times, which is good and bad, but, he's that type of player. And, he's just a good kid that wants to be a great player. He's had some great guys before him to see with Slay and Banks. And, those guys lay the groundwork for, what they can achieve while they're here in Mississippi State.
When speaking with Jamerson, he said that he was kind of disappointed with his tackle total last year, but he wants to kind of race it. But as a corner, you don't really want too many tackles.
And that's a good thing. It's a hard thing, but one thing I talk about with our guys is how can you be one play better? And when I look at, not only do I have to show them the good, I have to show them the bad. And look at some of the missed tackles we had. just imagine when we make those tackles this year, how much better the team will be.
How do you work on like a run support too? Because that's kind of one of the things we talked about too.
It's just, just making it, it's like when you're up and back, you got to lift the head. And for him, it's just a little thing, getting the head across, bringing his feet. It's all technique. And that's what we're working on at the farm now to get better at.
How did those freshmen look, like Chris and Brandon and Jameer?
Oh, man, Chris is one thing about it, the thing for high school kids to come to college is, everybody thinks they're the best player ever. And then you get here and you kind of realize these guys are pretty doggone good. So it's a learning curve, and for him, he one thing about it, mentally, he's good, to learn the plays. It happens so much faster than high school. You get to high school, you have probably 5 defenses, and you get here and you put 15, 20 in the first install. So it's kind of a lot on your plate that you have to get acclimated with. But, those guys will be fine. They can run, they're big, they can catch. So those type of things you love to have, and you'll get what you want out of them by coaching them the right way.
How did that redshirt year help Jameer?
It helped him out tremendously. Jameer is a physical, feisty, type of corner, and he's able now where he's not panicking. He can line up and play and execute the defense. And that's the most important part of getting the shot to play is being able to execute the call first.
When you're out there at practice, you run around, you get into those drills about as much as the guys do. Is that just because you're close to your playing days, or is that your coaching style?
I think that's probably more my coaching style. I think, I'm sure in about 4 years when you ask me this question, I hope it's the same way. But, I just think, doing it by example, it's always good to show a guy what you're looking for. For me, it's like you said, not too far removed, which helps me out a lot. And also, it's my way to get my cardio in. I'm trying to keep that. I'm trying to keep now as a sophomore, that sophomore 15 off. Last year was the freshman 15. So I guess, but just showing them the proper footwork and all that type of things and letting them know what I want to see because, one thing I talk about is, I know it works. I've seen it work. And, if they believe in and trust it and go out there and make it where it's muscle memory, they'll be good players.